So in this segment, we're going to be discussing the potential £50 billion black hole in the upcoming budget. So this is an economist who worked for the Bank of England previously, Rachel Reeves, who was in tears last week, alongside the fact that she couldn't get the kind of savings she wanted off the backs of the disabled people. How tragic is that? But they are the party of work after all, not the party of workers, not the party of the vulnerable, party of work. So let's have a listen.
I think the chances are that the Labour government will have to break their manifesto commitments.
I think it's pretty inevitable now, given where we are. The economy's not growing that fast. They've rode back on a few of the promises, the cuts to welfare, etc., that they were going to do in the past. And to be honest with you, our view was that the Chancellor was already missing her fiscal rules even back in March. So
that's interesting, because there's discussions around cutting special educational needs as well. So we'll be discussing that in a separate video, and I've kind of got that one lined up. But they are looking for cuts to areas for the vulnerable. It was, there was a huge Labour rebellion. That's the only reason why they couldn't get it through in the end. It would have embarrassed the government loads. They had to offer concessions. I do wonder if that's going to be in the legislation, though, because I do worry in case they pulled some sleight of hand. But it'll have to be there in the third reading, because you can't take trust me, bro, in terms of legislations. It doesn't make sense. So he's talking about potentially 50 billion black hole coming up. Taxes potentially are going to have to go up, and this is a Labour government who have said they're not going to raise VAT, income tax, and national insurance on employees. So they don't really have a ton of levers. I mean, I want them to put capital gains in lines with income tax. I want to see that. They've ruled out a wealth tax recently, so I don't know what they have left in terms of things at their disposal.
So things have just gotten worse since then. And it's pretty clear that if the Chancellor wants to hold to her fiscal rules, then she will have to raise taxes.
How much do you think she needs to raise?
Well, the IFS figure of 30 billion does not sound out of line to me. It could even be more than that. We calculated a gap of around about 50 billion when we last looked at the numbers, but certainly it's in that sort of ballpark, 30 to 50 billion.
That's a big gap, 30 to 50. And when you think about all the cuts they were planning on doing, that was only 5 billion. So there's not a lot of headroom she's left there, because these are all based on things like forecasts. And if people don't feel confident in the economy, they're not going to spend money. And the economy is really built on consumption and debt. So if people don't feel confident going into debt, especially with interest rates so high, that's a problem, because that's the system we have, really. And so there is a Guardian piece on this talking about how Rachel Reeves, really annoying. Rachel Reeves says she cannot rule out autumn tax rises after a damaging week. The Chancellor says she never considered resigning and warns there are costs to the welfare bill U-turn. So there's a lot of discussion around this. You had Labour MPs, saying that, if Reform win the next election, this will be on Rachel McCaskill. Oh, sorry, Rachel Maskell. I keep mispronouncing her name as McCaskill. But she's one of the ones that really I was a bit nervous about her, purely because she kept talking about the getting rid of how bad getting rid of the winter fuel allowance would have been originally, and then she abstained. But it seems like on this one she must have had a lot more support and backing, to the point where she was able to kind of push through a rebellion on this specific subject. But given the fact that there's a massive black hole coming, I'm quite nervous about what this Labour government are actually going to do for that. But we're gonna leave it there for now, and just keep an eye on the situation, see what happens. But I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.